We're continuing in the dapim of Perek Chelek, and now we're starting the sugya of Mashiach. Sugya of Mashiach is starting this daf. It's going to be now 2.5 perek of learning in Yoni Mashiach, where the Gemara refers to. So let's start the first few lines, and then we'll say a little Gdom over here. The Gemara says, without telling you the base at the bottom. Did you ever hear when Bar Nafli is going to come? Says the Gemara, who is Bar Nafli you're talking about? Omer Lei Mashiach. Bar Nafli is Mashiach. So he told him Mashiach, Bar Nafli Korah. That's what you call him? You call him Bar Nafli? Omer Le'in. That day, Akim would have to say Zayin Mudal Fadat. Akim in Sukkahs David Hanoifeles. I'm going to build up the Sukkah of David, the falling Sukkah of David HaMelech. So you have the time of Mashiach. It's called Bar Nafli because it's called Sukkahs David Hanoifeles. So here, to point out, this Sefer just came out last week. A good Chaver, Yossi Shonka put it out. And this is the Shiurim of Moshe Shapira. Moshe Shapira Zatzal gave Shiurim on Perek Chelek for 30 years. Has Shiurim, and every line in the Gemara Perek Chelek has a Shiur. Kimat everything is explained. Lori Hativ. So this Sefer is going on the 2.5 blot that we're learning right now. Today, tomorrow, and a little bit of Dav Tzadik Tes. That is going to be covering in this Sefer, one portion of that. Shakayach. So I got the leftovers. So we're going to try to a little bit. This is a full, as you can see, it's a full Sefer to learn a little bit of what in Yonim the Rizbayer Arichus. But one kudo over here regarding the Philo is that the idea of Mashiach is that as we know, Am Yisrael is Moshe Levana. And the Levana, what happens to Levana is Levana is born, and it goes, starts with it's born, it gets bigger, and then the end of the month it disappears, and then what happens? It's reborn. The whole mahalach of Gilui Mashiach comes through Nephilis, through breaking. There's the moon rises and the moon sets, goes up and down. Nefilis is not just stam that we call them, but it's because those are nefilos. The Pshat is the idea of Mashiach comes through nefilo, through struggles, through things that are going down, going back up. And this is really the mahalach of the Gemara right now in this Amud, as we're going to see what needs to happen. What needs to happen in order for Mashiach to come? There's a nefilo that has to happen. It's supposed to be some kind of a crack, some kind of a yurida, what's called yurida tzor chalil. When Mashiach to come has to be through a fixing of a problem in the world. The world is falling down, and there is a Gilui Mashiach that comes to do it. It says the Gemara. So there's less the Ashar, a name, the others, the eyes, Kolois, Biyogoin, Ve'anocho. There's in the suffering, in size. Vitzoros, Rabois, Xeris, Koshois, Mitchachos. And there's a lot of tzaros in the world. Before the first one ended, the second one comes. So a little bit of a taste that we have these days. We know the whole inyan of time of Mashiach already started. The Tkufa that leads to the time of Mashiach, many of G'dolei Hadoros, even not the Zionists, always said that this is a Tarchov. It's already said we're getting closer and closer to Mashiach. So the Tzaros of Misrabos, because Mashiach comes, he comes through that nefila that happens to the world. The 7 years that lead to Bias Mashiach, it goes like this. Any one of the sentences we have right now needs beer, and we're not going to really understand it fully until Mashiach comes. When Mashiach comes, then we'll figure out, that's what it meant. What it says, the entirety of Lirachas, I'll have rain in one city, but not in the other city. there will be arrows of hunger, which means the world will be full of hunger. Shlishi Surav Gadol, the hunger becomes stronger. Umesim Anoshim Vinoshim Vitaf, men, women, and children die from the hunger. Chasidim Vanshemais, the Torah Mishtakachas on there, the Torah is gone. Pervi Soiva Veinusov, there's already started to be more food, it's not fully. Bechamishi Soiva Gadol, V'oichlim, V'shoisim, V'smeichim, V'toira Chazeslam. Now they have a lot of food. There's not enough to fill up the whole world. V'shishis Koilois, there's voices in the 6th year. Rashi says 2 explanations. Either Yatsu Koilois Shabin David Ba, we already hearing David is coming. Lo Shanacher Koilski as Shofar Shema Yitoka B'Shofar Gadol. In the 7th year, there's wars, and then b'moitzi shviz ben David ba, moitzi shmita ben David ba. So the first we're going to discuss over here, does it mean literally what does it mean or not? There's one nikud over here that has to do with the whole daf. We can just get to it more and more in Yoni that have to do with the kates. We're going to learn Beis Hashem in next daf. Tomorrow's daf, more speaks about the idea of when is the time the Mashiach is supposed to come. And we have 2 itim. We have a time called Be'ito. We have a time called Achishenu. Be'ito is the time, the proper time when Mashiach is supposed to come. There's a certain date that Mashiach will come. The Ramchal explains it, and we'll see a little bit more of it as we go through the daf, that there is a time Mashiach will come, and that time is specific. There's a specific date, and that date, regardless of what happens in the world, Kadosh Baruch Hu will make sure the Mashiach comes that date. But then all the possibilities, all the opportunities for Mashiach to come before is called a chishenu. Means that Kadosh Baruch Hu will speed up the Geula and make it come faster. So when we have different simonim that we have here in the Gemara, and the first we discuss, is it the time of Be'ito or is it time of Chishenu? Some of the first would say this 7 years we talk about is Be'ito. If it comes at the proper time, it comes in Moitzi Shemitah, there's a whole process to get to. But it can come any day, even without that process leading to it. What? Yeah. Yeah, so Chesed will be covered. Okay? So we have over here, so very good. So we get to the years of Mashiach, so that even though the Gemara brings us some kind of order how it's supposed to be, but that is only how it's going to be. That's how if it's coming in the proper time, but it could come faster.
Why is problem?
What?
Why this problem with Mashiach?
Because the Mashiach is coming to be bringing Geula to the world. Through in the field, that's what I said at the beginning. Mashiach is coming to fix a problem in the world.
Big problem 7 years before to fix it.
Yeah. If it comes Be'ito, that means the world is not proper.
Why break it?
Because if you're not breaking, what do you have to fix it? You want to bring the Geula. Omar Yosef says the Yosef, "Akam shvis da'ava ken v'lo yosef." Yes, the Shmi Yosef, the simon that you brought is not a great simon because it happened a few times, but still Mashiach didn't come. Omar Abaye, shishi koilos v'shvis v'chovos mi'avo, hoi kisidru mi'avo. Did you ever see that it was the 6 years there was the voices Mashiach is coming, and then the 7th was Milchamis in the world, and did we have it in this order? So he says this simon is a good simon. The next parentheses, Rashi already points out that the Chur doesn't belong over here. So maybe there was another drasha of the Gemara, and therefore the Flush will take it out. So we'll skip the parentheses. The place of Beisavad Yeliznus was Beisavad Yeliznus. So one explanation here that Rashi says Beisavad Mokush Chachamim Loim Di Torah will become Znus. What does it mean become Znus? So Reuven Margolius brings, the pshat is that they're going to learn Torah just for the fun of it. Just for, not because this is your avodah to do it, because it's pleasure. The same as Nus is pleasure, so you have another pleasure called Torah. Ve'agalil Yecherav, it's a location called Galil will be destroyed. Ve'agavlo Rashi is another place. Yesham will be empty. Ve'anshei Agvul, they're going to fix this over here to say Anshei Choyil. Yisayvim me'ir le'ir v'lo yichananu, and they will not be a chanin over you. They will take care of them. V'chachmas asayfrim tisrach, meaning people will not appreciate Torah. V'yirei chet imasu, people that are afraid of chet, tzaddikim, will not be appreciate it. Many explanations to mean what is Pnei Ador K'Pnei HaKelev. Rashi says over here that means literally that the face they will look like a dog. So I'm saying they will not be embarrassed from each other. Others brings Shor Salanter says that the mashal Pnei Ador K'Pnei HaKelev means that the leaders will be like a kelev. What does it mean? So the Shor Salanter says you see a guy walking his dog. The dog is running very, very fast ahead. It looks like the dog is leading the guy's holding the chain, the master. But really, he's going very fast ahead, but really he's looking, the master is the one who's leading him. So you're going to have the manhigim, they're going to look like they're the manig, but really like they're a dog, they're just being led by the people telling them what to do. There's so salant expelled, saying, well, the emes will be missing Shneimah v'tiyah emes te'aderes. But we're going to skip again the parentheses. Why v'tiyah emes te'aderes? Hamid evirami lamed shinases adorim v'yechezkel, which means there won't be emes in a clear way. You can see in a moment what does it mean emes in a clear way. It will be bundles and areas of emes, but not more than that. The hemshech haposek is my v'sar v'ram mishtoilu. Anybody who's a big tzaddik, keeps mitzvahs, is very Yerushalayim, so everybody's going to look at him and think, Mishikin, what are you doing? You're such a tzaddik? No, you can relate to that. What happened to you? So Rabbi says a story regarding emes. He says, originally I thought there's no emes in the world. This is what Tavus told Ravo, I'm left to view Mishmei. He says, even if they give me everything in the world, all the treasures of the world, he won't lie. One day he reached this location. The name of the place was Emes. They were very, very careful not to say any Dar Sheker. So what happened, the emes is there. They didn't die before the time. Mashal brings over here, when you pray makpit on Sheker, so then you have Gilu Kodesh Baruch Hu. Part of Gilu Kodesh Baruch Hu is the person doesn't die before his time. So what happened, this Rav Tavus, he felt very at home. So what he did was he married a woman from that location. He had 2 children. One day his wife is going and washing her hair. Came the neighbor, knocked on the door. He says, it's not proper to say what she's doing. She's washing her hair. It's not the right way to say it. So what he said was, she's not home. The neighbor knocked at the door. Where is your wife? She's not home. She was home washing her hair. Let's say she's taking a shower. She's not home. What happened? Both his children died. Also, came the people of that location. My house, nobody dies before his time. So what's going on here? Says this was the story. I didn't really lie. I did it because of their hearts. Please, please leave. I think you don't bring mothers to this place. So the first should point out, he did the right thing. The person is allowed to be mishane for different reasons. Here he did. Their hearts not to speak something improper. So yes, but that's when you're living a normal life. When you're in a location that emes is that's what they're makbid on. They're mysterious nefesh for emes, so you can't play games with it. Kudah, that's the kudah. You can't come change it. So if they come and saying they're not lying, they're not lying. And if he comes, even though he has a good reason to lie, he ruined the place. Saying what the duration that the Melech comes, the children will embarrass the old people. You'll see old people standing in front of kids. A daughter will be chutzpah to her mother, daughter-in-law to her shvigir. As we mentioned before, the son is not embarrassed from the father. So the first should point out over here that we know that Yosef was about to do a chet. So what stopped him? The fact that he saw Must Yukna Shalaviv. Says in the generation of Mashiach that Must Yukna Shalaviv doesn't help. Time Nechem Oimer Dorsha ben David Boy Hazus Time. There will be a lot of chutzpah. Vayoiker Yoves. There will be a lot of things will be very expensive to an extreme. There will be a lot of grapes, but the wine will be still expensive. Rashi says this explanation because everybody will be drink wine. What? People will drink so much wine, so it will be expensive. The malchus will be all kaifer. Nobody will give techechu. So Messiah Yitzchak ben David Bo, if Shir doesn't come, Shtapech Kol Malchus. It means you have to have kthira in the world. Omar Ravam, Omar Maikro, Kula Afach Lava and Toru. When does a Mitzayro become Toru? When he's fully Mitzayro. So now you need the entire world to be the exact opposite of Kutsha Brichu, to come and now Megale. Oh, Kutsha Brichu comes. In other words, there's a certain level of downgrade that Kutsha Brichu does not allow the world to go to. So when the whole world becomes bad, so Mimele comes the good out of it. So you want to talk about the Kiyodi, the Shema, the Kirei, Kiyozos, Yad, Dever, Otzor, Vozov, that the Kishbog who judges the nation, he say there will be no Otzor, Vozov, some kind of a manhigus. Says he when bin David Bad Shiyirbu on the service, there will be people that are moister to the Malchus. The Ra'acher, this is as Kedua, the Maharal brings that when it says that Moshe Rabbeinu, when he saw there was Doston ve'avirum, they were telling the king what happened, so he says, okay, they're not ruining the Geula. Meaning the problem that's by Mitzrayim. Meaning the opposite of Am Yisrael is when you have Malshinus. There won't be enough money. That's a Pashup shot. Someone will say that today, the fact that you have to use always credit card, there's no actual money. That's a kiyum, particularly prutim in a kiss. They give up a geula. Shene'amar ve'efes atzur v'ozuv kevyachol in soymech ve'oizel yisol. There's nobody to obviously to rely on to lead Am Yisrael. Says the one when he found Rabbanan dealing with geula, trying to figure out when the geula is coming. Please. Don't make the geula being pushed away. We learned. Three things come when you don't expect it to come. Mashiach, Metzia, Ve'akrov. So Akrov means a scorpion. The scorpion hits somebody when he is not expecting it. A Metzia comes when you don't. If you go look for Metzia, you won't find a Metzia. And Mashiach also comes when you're not expecting it, not when you're Mechashem. So the Chishuv Geula is something which should not be done because it's basically pushing it away. So it's an interesting combination. You have a Mashiach. Mitzad Echod, you have a din. You have to be mitzaper liyishua. You have to be yearning for the Yeshua. Mitzad Sheni, you have to come as sechadas. So the Pashup Pshat is that there's one thing of saying I'm waiting for Mashiach to come. There's another thing to come and try to mechash, but if this happens, that means Mashiach is coming. We have this and this event, that means Mashiach is coming. You're coming to determine Mashiach based on what happens. That's called Chishuv HaKetz. You should not do it. The problem is the Gemara now will give us a few Cheshbonis of the Ketz. You have to understand what that means. Says the Gemara now. Olav Ktinu. Shit al Pishnei Aval. The world exists for 6,000 years. The Chad Chorov. In 1,000, it's destroyed. Shenemar v'nizkav Hashem levado b'yoyim ahu. It's one day. The Yom Shakash Baruch Hu is 1,000 years. One day, it's nizkav Hashem levado. B'yom HaTrechov. 2,000 years will be destroyed. Shenemar yichayenu miyumayim. 2 years he will not let us, there will be no life in the world. Then the third one will live in front of him. The same we have Shemitah once every 7 years. That's how the world also relaxes for 1 year, 1,000 out of 7,000. Yom Shekul Shabbos. It's one day with Shekul Shabbos. How do you know one day is 1,000 years? Ki elef shonim beinecho ki yom etmol ki avar. 1,000 years is on one day of Kishbul is Kelef Shanim. So here the Ramchal speaks about this in length, and that's what comes out for many of the Mekubalim. When we're talking about 1,000 years the world doesn't exist, is not referring to the structure of the world. Of course, Pashut Shah in the Gemara, there's no world. But that is the idea at the time of Olam Haba. Olam Haba is 1,000 years. And what does it mean, Olam Charev? The world, the way we know it, is not going to be here. There will be a world of Olam Haba. So what happens after that? So the Ramchal goes on, and Ramchal has a whole mahalach to say that there is a tkufa of thousands of years. There's Elef HaShvi, Elef HaShmini, Elef HaChi, Elef HaAsiri. Each one is another elevation of the world, and then we get to something called Netzach. It's something which you can't even talk about. Eternity that comes after the 10,000 years. But the 7,000 is not a destruction of the world. 7,000 is taking away the word Olam Haza the way we know it, and coming to the Elef HaShvi. Elef HaShvi means what we call Olam Haba. And every time the Gemara refers to Olam Haba, which we're going to get to a little later more in this parak, referring to this Elef HaShvi, to the 1,000 years, when the Gemara says Olam Charuv, Olam Haza Charuv, we have a Yom Shekul Shabbos. Same as Shabbos is not a destruction of the world, but it's a stopping of how the way we know the world, the way we know it. So also the time of Olam Haba is the same thing.
And that's before or after Mashiach?
After. Mashiach comes in the end of the 6,000 years.
And then it's Olam Haba.
Yeah. Says more Tan Devei Eliyahu. Sheshes. Really, Gemara is referring to this right away. Tan Devei Eliyahu. Shesh Alav Yishon Avam. The world exists for 6,000 years. Shnei Alav Toyu. 2,000 years is Toyu. Rashi goes on to explain in length that that's the Toyu brings us until Avraham Avinu lives, until Avraham Avinu is 52 years. Because as we know, what year was Avraham Avinu born? So it's easy for us to remember, because it's 1948. 1948 from Bria Soil, not for 1948 for the current calendar. The reason it's 1948 is the year that the state of Israel was established. That's this. So 1948 is Avraham Avinu with Bria Soil. So how old is Avraham Avinu when the world comes to 2000? He's 52 years old. So Rashi goes on to say, when he gets to 52 years old, that's when he leaves Charan, and that's when he starts his journey, and that stops the time of Toyu. So the first 2,000 years, the world is Toyu because you don't have the Gilur of Kadosh Baruch Hu that Kadosh Baruch Hu wants for the world. That's 2,000 Toyu. Shtei Alafim Toyu. Shtei Alafim Toyu. Rashi goes on to do the Cheshbon. From the time that Avraham Avinu starts the process, then you go through Yavrom, Yitzchak, Yaakov, the Shvatim, Am Yisrael, going to Mitzrayim, going out of Mitzrayim, receiving the Torah, going to Eretz Yisrael, building Beis Hamikdash Rishon. Beis Hamikdash Rishon is Nechov. They go to Golus Bavel. They have Beis Hamikdash Sheni. After Beis Hamikdash Sheni, they come out to Golus, and 172 years later is the time of the end of Beis Halachim Torah. And the Pashas comes out around that time is the Tkufa of Rav, middle of the stomach of the Talmudah, and that's the Tkufa of that the Torah was considered to be ending, meaning the main Ikar Gilui Torah, the Shaish Torah comes then. It's based on Torah. Shtei Alafim Moisa Mashiach. Then comes 2,000 years of Moisa Mashiach. Rashi says, last Rashi in the Amud, Shachashtei Alafim Torah Avadino Sheavoy Mashiach V'tichle HaGolus V'yivatel Hashivul Yisrael. Should have been there's 2,000 years where Mashiach could come. Says the word of Tzayzayin with base, but what can we do? That we missed out, and we didn't. Mashiach could have come that time, but we missed out on it. In other words, what's the 2,000 years that could have come? 2,000 years that could have come. This is clearly Achisheno, bringing it a little earlier. Mashiach will not come during the first 4,000 years, but he could come then. The big problem, the first deal was, like I said earlier, the Yechezkel could have been Mashiach. Yechezkel is before, it's way before the 2,000 years. So doing by Rishon. So what does it mean? Does it mean maybe there is a way to bring Mashiach before? It's a different change of the world, or it's a different time of Mashiach. So that's one of the things that we first were dealing with. So the Gemara, one last thing before we go on, and 2 Alafim Moisa Mashiach, the Vilna Gaon says that 2 Alafim Moisa Mashiach is the potential of Mashiach to come. And when Mashiach does not come, it goes back to Toyu. So if 2,000 years, Toyu. 2,000 years, Toyu. 2,000 years, Toyu, unless Mashiach comes. And that's what she says, the Goyim brings the pasuk in Eicho, Ma'akav v'sareah b'goyim, ain't Toyu. It's also pasuk in Eicho. When I saw in Golus, Toyu is not the Toyu the way it's supposed to be. So I have Toyu for 2,000 years, then comes the love theme, which Toyu is not the same level of Toyu. Says the Gemara, Omerlei Eliyahu le'avyuda chuda v'tzal chasido. Hein ha'olam pachois b'shmoinim v'chamisha yoivus. Now, the world until Mashiach comes is 85 yoivos. How long is that? Rashi says it's 4,250 years. It's not going to be, say, I'll tell you, Mashiach won't come for at least 4,250 years. It comes out, the first boy of the Yechezkel comes out, that's the time of Chasimas HaTalmud. The Shas Bavli ended around that time. That means you have to wait for that for Mashiach to go. So, in the last year, when David comes, is the beginning or the end? I'm not sure. Does it come? In other words, do you wait? Does this time? In other words, is Mashiach coming throughout this time or after this time? I don't know. So big sfeikis over here. We passed that time a very long time ago. So talk about again some kind of potential that brought the Itkufo. There's some kind of a gil of Mashiach could be there. Don't wait for him. Don't expect him before that time. From here on, expect him. It can be at any moment. I found a person. It comes with a Megillah written in Lashon HaKodesh Ashuri. That's what we read at Sefer Torah. Amarti lo, Choyer Shilva, right? Choyer Shilva. Yeah, so that's the idea of meaning. Question is, in the first 4,000 years, did they have a Chakel Choyer Shilva? Choyer Poshim Shal the Gemara? No, because we have a certain time. It's hard to say. So that's a question. From there on, there's no question that it will be the Chakel Choyer Shilva. So where did you get this Megillah? I was hired by the Roman soldiers. I found it over there. After 4,291 years, the world will be bad. Rashi says Milchamas Tanim means fish. Fish wars. Some Milchamas Goy V'Hashayim Moisa Mashiach, and the rest was Mashiach. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mechadesh Esalomoy El Achar Shiva Savim Shana. The world will not be recreated only after 7,000 years. Ravacha Breder Rav Amar Chamesh Savim Shana Yitvar. This will happen at the wars after 5,000 years. So what's going on with these wars? Chorzan and stuff. So the Vilna Gaon says that we're talking about here the whole process that the world is coming towards Mashiach. And when it says Milchamas Tanim, Zok the Vilna Gaon, that's the Milchamas of Yishmael and Esav in the world. The last, especially if the Gemara refers to after 5,000 years, the entire last millennia is always wars that are going on between the Crusades and the Ishmaelim, and the whole world is busy with Milchamas of Esav and Yishmael. That's really what's going on with some breaks in between. But in general, you have, Yishmael on the bottom and the south of the world, and Esav at the top of the world having wars. And this is all preparations for the time of Mashiach. So, until you get to Gog and Magog. Yeah, so the shaila is, we don't know Gog and Magog how long it is. And how many wars that happen throughout the world are a Hagdama to Gog and Magog too. We don't know that. We'll see when Mashiach comes. We say all the shailas will ask when Mashiach comes. But the concept is that the world is getting prepared for Mashiach when you have milchamas, when you have wars in the world. The fact that the world, for years, for centuries, there's always wars going on, it's all preparation to get the Mashiach. this pasuk goes down till the bottom of the earth. Ki Yechezkel lemoyed ve'yifach leketz ve'lo yikozev. You will wait for the ketz, but it will not deny you. If he's waiting, if he's getting delayed, so there will be Mashiach. Don't worry, it's coming. Like I was saying, now they were saying the Yidashin at Idon Idonim uplag Idon. They gave a time for Mashiach. Rashi says, what is Idon Idonim uplag Idon? Look at Rashi in the middle of the page to the right. Idon ki Idon agolosh shemitzrayim. Hayna arba moishna. So Mitzrayim is 40 years. Beis Idonim is 800 shon. Haniyud beis mois. So Idon v'idonim is 1,200 years. Upalig Idon beis mois. Sachakol 1,400. So they said Mashiach is supposed to come after 1,400 shana, from the time that we're speaking about the last 2,000 years. So that's not the right time. There's another drasha. Rashi is Tashkim do Shalish. Komash Kasam Hakadosh Baruch Hu Bein Golus Mitzrayim. The Golus Bavel Shlish Golus Edom. Ki Kates Golus Edom Zeh Yelosef Gimel Paamim. Say Gimel Paamim Abam Shana. The Gimel Paamim Shivim Shana. 3 times Abam Shana and 3 times 70 years. Can I go Bavel? The Hainu, what is it? The Seif Elef Abamud V'Ester Shana. After 1,410 years. Now Rashi adds another sentence. Rashi says, Kar Avru V'Lo Yoyo. It passed and it didn't happen. Kach Matzati Kodesh Shmuel Bar David. Now why is it, the Goy takes it out? Because this is before Rashi's time. 1,410 years from the time of 2,000 years of Mashiach is what? It's about 500 years ago. Rashi lived 800 years ago. So this kufa that's brought down over here, it says it didn't come. Rashi couldn't write it because Rashi was before that. So it has to be there was a God that came afterwards. So don't say that, Joshua. A little bit more. Rashi brings also another pshat that we're talking about. It goes a whole cheshbon, and he says it's if you look towards the end of the right side of the page, Rashi goes on to say, so he says the question we're talking about that there'll be only a little bit covered to Am Yisrael, then there won't be more. Malchus Rishon Shivim Shon, Malchus Shniyo Chamishi V'Shtayim, Malchus B'Kuzivo Shtayim Shoni V'Mechzu. This will be the small meluchos that Am Yisrael will have doing the Bayit Sheni. So what the Gemara is saying is, don't do all these cheshbonis and try to say this is the time Mashiach comes. So Amay ve'yipach leketz lo yikosev. Omar Shmuel Baruch Vani Maviris Tipach Atzmo Shemechashvi Kitzim. The bones of Meshchash Kitzim should blow up. Sheyoyim Kivet Shigias Aketz lo yibo Shuv Ein Abo. So there's a case and he's not coming. Elachakelo, you have to wait for Mashiach. She'emar im isma'amo chokeloi. How's he come? You have to wait for him. Maybe we're waiting, he's not waiting. Talmud lo yima lechenicha ki Hashem lechonchem v'lechen yoru u'lerachemchem. Shmuel was also waiting. We're waiting for Mashiach. Shmuel was waiting for Mashiach. Mi me'akev. So what's stopping Mashiach from coming? Mid the sadin me'akevis. And in sadin, people have to, Am Yisrael has to go through the struggles of this world. So why are we waiting? In other words, you have to go through this din. Once we're waiting for Mashiach and you're waiting for Mashiach, they get a schar. So there's a few nikudas over here that comes out. First of all, the Gemara is telling us that you should not do chishuv kitzim. The problem is the Gemara itself did chishuv kitzim. Not only that, all the Rishonim do chishuv kitzim. The Ramban brings us a cheshbon Mashiach is going to come. And all the other, the Rabbanel and others, we had a cheshbon Mashiach. What's going on over here? It says not to do chishuv kitzim. So Ramosha brings over here, I forgot the name of who he says it. It says a mashal ma'ad dover doimer. You go on a trip with the friends, with the kids. You're going on the train, and it's a 10-hour plane ride. What? Oh, so you sit down in the chair, and the son tells you, "Are we there yet?" You give him what is this? We're going there to show. It's a 12-hour plane ride. Calm down, sit down, and relax. We still have time. But when you come in now before the arrival, now they start saying, "Are we there yet?" Say, "We're almost there." It's already legitimate to ask if they're coming there. So like this, in the beginning of the time of Golus, it says, we have a long Golus ahead of us. But now we're getting closer and closer. So now, are we there yet? Now it's already, it's not as Chishuf Kitzim. So we're expecting it to come. In Daniel, it says, there's a pasuk in Daniel that says the time Mashiach will come. And all the Mefarshim gave dates of when Mashiach will come. Based on my last time I checked it, all the dates passed except the date of the Malbim, if I'm not mistaken. So Pshat is that they all it's part of the yearning. We're coming now. There's another Nekudo that's brought down many of them, Mekubalim, and that is all the dates that brought down to us is not wrong dates. First of all, there's potential for Mashiach to come, the higher potential. And any one of these days, there was some Giluyim that came up. As we're getting closer to Mashiach, and this is very important regarding the Shtei Alofim, Moise Mashiach. Tzaddik HaKohen says that we have 1 minute to get into this before we continue the daf. Tzaddik HaKohen says that all the Giluyim of Torah that we have in this world, especially the Giluyim Chadoshim that we had, which is the Sefer HaZoyar and the Torah Sa'arizal and Torah Kabbalah, and all the abundance of Torah, all comes from Torah Mashiach. Comes from there. It's like a stemming from there. Because we know Mashiach will come, he will teach us Torah in abundance. It says, the Medrash said what? Yeah, but he's Stalik Yimenu.
Why?
Yeah. Why? Because you have to go through the Chasheicha in order to wait for the kids. But it's brought down, it says, the Kol Torah Shodam Lomin Boilam Hazeh, Hevelu Klapit Torah Mashiach. The Torah that person learns in this world is nothing Klapit Torah Mashiach. It says Tzaddik, Hevel doesn't mean nothing only. Hevel means steam. And when you put a Hevel, Havloi, like when you put out, you smell the chulent. When the Torah that Adam learned Boilam Hazeh is the steam coming out of the Torah Mashiach. So we have a little bit of something coming from there. And there's different exposed times. The time the Zohar was Mizgale, brought down, there was a special time of Geula. The time the Arizal's Torah was Mizgale, there was a time of Geula. All these manim that we have some, some handful coming from Mashiach, and therefore it's not completely wrong. Every generation is 36 tzaddikim that accept the Shechina. In other words, this has to do with the Lamed Vavik, the Vav tzaddikim. Shema Ashrei Kol Choyke Loi Begimatria Tlosi Meshita. Loi is Gematria 36. So Eini Val Morovo Doro the Kami Kuchabrichu Tamneisre Alfe Parsuavo. The road in front of Kosh Baruch Hu is 18,000 parses. This is much more. Shema Saviv Shvonei Esraelif. Samoli Kasha the Mistakle Aspaklaya Meiro had the Mistakle Aspaklaya Meiro. The ones who see in a clearer vision, there's only 36. Less clear vision, that's much more. Now, we know only Moshe Rabbeinu saw Aspaklaya Meiro. What Shad means different levels of Aspaklaya Meiro. The more you are, the more it is. But the other Nikuda before she bring is when we speak about Moshe Rabbeinu Aspaklaya Meiro, that's the Nevuah. When we're speaking about the Chachamim, it's a different type. It's Chachma. Chachma is a Torah. It's a different type of level of connection, and there you can have a Aspaklaya Meiro through Torah, even in other Chachamim. So the moment there's so many. No, is very few. If there's 1,000, my son and I are part of them. If it's 100, my son and I are part of them. If it's only 2, it's me and my son. That's how Shubay Chai says about him and his son. If first when you ask it, this sounds like a little gaiva, right? He's coming to say that it's him and his son. But the Pasuk Pshat is he's saying inside Achrayus that the world he is responsible for what's going on in the world. So you see, there's very few tzaddikim that level. So more like Hashem. The ones who go in with every other tzaddikim are close to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, but they need permission to come in. Shir Bar Yochai and his son are able to go in below bar. They're able to go connect to Hakadosh Baruch Hu without any rishus. Obviously, you need to know what does it mean rishus to be stuck up as Pakar Meir, as Rashi says. Says the Gemara now. We're starting now the sugi, which will go into the next daf. Just say the next few lines. On the Raf. All the kitzim are gone. Mashiach come. But you know what it depends? It depends on us. We have to do tshuva ma'aseh tovim. The Mashiach will come. Shmuel Amar doyo le'ovel sheyamud be'evlin. Just mourn and wait. Mashiach will come. What does it mean? What's the machlokes? Ketanai. Avla zoyim im Yisrael lo yisvet tshuva nigolim. V'im lav ein nigolim. I'm so do tshuva. They will be redeemed if not that. Only b'shuim ein yisvet tshuva ein nigolim. They won't do tshuva. They won't be nigol. Hakadosh Baruch Hu ma'amid le'melech shegzeroisav kosher ke'haman. What's going to happen is that Hakadosh Baruch Hu will put there a melech shekosh kaman and force him to do tshuva. So here, this is what the Ramchal says. We mentioned at the beginning of this year. The Ramchal says there's a certain date of Geula, and Mashiach will come that day. Hi, what about the fact that you do tshuva? What do you do with tshuva? So Pshat is Hakadosh Baruch Hu megalgel the Am Yisrael will be doing tshuva. So the Ramchal, this is part of the Megil goal that we have in the world. We have a stira in general of Yediyah and Bchira. Tzad Echad, we have the free will of Adam, and that's what's running the world. That's called Hanogas HaMishpat. Because that's what Ramchal calls Hanogas HaMishpat. Hanogas HaMishpat means it depends what I'm doing. Doing good, I'm doing bad. Then there's another Hanog in the world called Hanogas HaYichud. Hanogas HaYichud is Hakadosh Baruch Hu is running the show. Now, how do we understand these two things come together? The answer is we don't. And so the Rambam in Perek Yechezkel Tshuva, he brings the Shaila. How can it be that Hakadosh Baruch Hu knows everything is going to happen, and we also have free will? And the answer is that we don't understand this. We just know they both exist. Says the Ramchal, the Geula is totally by Hanogas HaYichud. Meaning Hakadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring the Mashiach. How's it going to happen? There will be some if there's when Mashiach comes at a certain date, Hakadosh Baruch Hu will misayvev whatever has happened in the world for that to happen. So it says here, according to the Gemara brings that the Rebbe Shua says if any tshuva any nigolim, he says also they will do tshuva, but the tshuva will happen meaning there will be force upon us to come and do tshuva. So in Manashach, it will happen. It will happen either through our own will, or it will happen through what Hakadosh Baruch Hu is saving in the world to get to the specific date. If you're going to Beito, not the Achishenas, we'll learn next half. So Beito will happen regardless of what we do. It will be Mashiach that day. Our Tzipiyah Yeshua is that we're waiting and expecting and yearning to get Mashiach earlier. That's what we do. One last nekuda where this will end is the Gemara said before, the ones who are waiting for Mashiach, Zok Tesvak. Sma says that the mitzvah, we have a mitzvah in the Ereso to wait for Mashiach. And where is the mitzvah doing? Not only that, one of the 6 questions that a person is asked, we go to Shamayim. Because the Shamayim has 6 questions. One of the questions are, Tzipisa Yeshua, did you wait for Yeshua? We have kitzim, kol kitzim. Tzipis Yeshua, it's one of the mitzvahs. So the Sma, you know what's a mitzvah? Anoichi Hashem Elokecha asher tisicha me'eretz. I took you out of Golos Mitzrayim. I'll take care of you in the future as well. That's part of the mitzvah. Mitzvah Tzipis Yeshua is Talmud in the first Dibra that we got. First introduction, Hakadosh Baruch Hu tells them we call Mitzrayim is I'm going to be responsible for your redemption. Beis Hashem Yisbarach, M'chakaloi Kol Yom She'avoi.